Oh yeah, we're talking about money today, boys. My love for money is up there with my love for traveling, so when I get to talk about both at the same time, I know you're in for a good time. So let's talk about it. Hey everyone, it's Troy from Floaterly.com, and today we're talking about saving money for traveling. At first glance, traveling can seem really expensive. I mean, with trips costing over $1,000 in most cases, and sometimes upwards of a couple thousand. So yeah, it is expensive, but when broken down into smaller parts, it's not as daunting, and that's what budgeting is, so let's get right into it. All my trips are funded through something I like to call my travel fund. Very creative name, I know, the basis of it is really simple. I get paid on the 1st and the 15th every month. So every payday I'll go to the ATM and withdraw a set amount of cash. I'll store that cash in a tiny little plastic baggie and then hide it away, not to be touched until I travel again. I factor it in as just another bill on my budget spreadsheet, so after I put it away, it's like that money doesn't even exist anymore, like I paid a bill. Now the amount you withdraw doesn't have to be anything crazy. I typically withdraw around $60 per paycheck, which is $120 a month. This leaves me with on average about $1,440 to travel with every year, as long as I don't touch anything. You can tailor it to you. Whether you withdraw more than me or less, that is completely up to you and where your priorities lie. You know, $60 every paycheck may not be feasible. Tailor it to you. Now that's my baseline. That's for when I know I want to travel, but don't know when or where I want to go yet. Once I have a destination in mind, then I'll build a rough estimate of what the trip is actually going to cost. To do this, I look through flights and see when prices are at their lowest. I'll be making a video on the subject of finding the lowest airline prices, so stick around, subscribe to make sure you don't miss that video because that'll save you a lot of money. But after I have my dates and my flight estimate, I move on to Airbnb or a hotel depending. Depending on what's cheapest or most convenient determines if I go the Airbnb or the hotel route. A vast majority of the time it is Airbnb, but I check both just to be safe. Then I move on to activities. With TripAdvisor, I just search what kind of stuff there is to do at my destination and see the prices for a handful of the ones that I want to do. Then I sprinkle a couple $100 on the total that I have so far to account for food and drinks and stuff, and voila, I've got a rough estimate of what the trip will cost me. Now that I have that estimate, now I can adjust my monthly budget to account for the cost. Let's say the trip is 9 months away and costs $1,600 in total. Well, currently I'm withdrawing $120 a month, which would leave me at only $1,080 by the time the trip rolls around. That means I need to fund an additional $520 over the course of 9 months, which is just about $60 a month extra, or an extra $30 per paycheck in my case. And one thing to note is that I pay for the trip in increments, so I'll book the flights with whatever I have saved, then the hotel, and so on and so forth. So I never actually have just a wad of $1,600 and then just book everything at once. I go like milestones, if you will. Now, with all that said though, it is just a rough estimate. I always recommend over budgeting rather than under budgeting. Just in case some sort of emergency arises, you'll have that extra money to help cover your ass. Plus, if there's a surplus of money after the trip is all said and done, then hey, you got some extra money. And extra money is never a bad thing. And yeah, that's all I really got for you. I'll be going more in depth into each little section that I talked about today in future videos, so subscribe and hit that bell icon for notifications whenever I upload so you don't miss those videos. As well as leaving a like and sharing this video with friends, especially your friends who could use a little bit of help when it comes to budgeting money. And with all that being said, thank you guys for stopping by, and I'll see you in the next one.